Welcome to the 9th podcast. I'm not completely sure which episode is that. Haven't been here in a while, but I hope to stay consistent now. Have a lot of troubles in my life. So many things are going on, and I have so many things to do. I'm not complaining, just wanted to clear my mind. Yeah, good way to start the podcast. From this point on, it will be about the journey. It always was about the journey, but now things have to become real. And I hope to have people along the way with me, If there is any topics or segments you want me to touch, write in the comments. We can discuss, and I will talk with a clear mind. Today I started with disciplining myself. I hope to become more disciplined. I was back in the days, of course, so much more disciplined, but now kind of fell off and have to come back on track. So of course I went on Google and type how to be disciplined, because when you're lost you have to start from somewhere, right? So this is the beginning. Again, this time I'm not gonna stray from the way. So how I think my journey today started properly. Hope so. So I went in there and I got in touch with these 21 laws of life on Dokkōdō from Musashi. Probably you know about it, people that are listen. But we'll talk a little bit about them. I just wrote them down. Don't have definitions or anything. This is a clear way to feel yourself, to get in touch with yourself, to not expect explanation from anybody but yourself. And yeah, of course you can miss some things, but it's more beautiful that way. It's more real, and oh God, you don't need to follow anybody but yourself. So have that in mind. 21 laws of life. I'll start with the first. It is accept everything just the way it is. Not sure if that means to be stoic and accept it without emotions or whatever. I'm kinda sure. For myself, it's not like that. Because everything is happening by a certain way for a certain reason, and you cannot just pretend you're not affected or you don't have emotions or whatever. But it is there. It's there. You cannot surpass it. It's there for you to experience it. So basically, easy as it sounds, accept everything just the way it is. You can describe it by your own way of experience things. Second, do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Yeah, nowadays we live in a world in which we are get used to feel pleasure from everything. Can you imagine? You expect to feel pleasure with every bite of food you put in your mouth. You expect to feel pleasure with every single step that you take in your life. Can you imagine how ridiculous this is? And we're living that way. It's complete nonsense. That's why we're getting stuck so often. Pleasure is there to be felt, not to be overstimulated. Those are the right words. So don't feel just pleasure for feeling pleasure, you know. Like you want to have a meaning, the same way your whole life have to. Your whole daily life, your actions, every single one of your choices have to have meaning. And doing something for simple pleasure, that's not a meaning. That's a reason, okay, but a reason is not good enough to be a meaning. Third, do not under any circumstances depend on a partial feeling. Kinda same thing, right? If you don't have built a net, a whole platform of emotions based upon some things, you cannot forbid them, abandon them, and go for a completely new feeling. Yes, if you don't have any feelings back there, then take the chance. But you have to accept the truth and to know it deep inside. Do not under any circumstances depend on a partial feeling. Not only for a pleasure, but a note of feeling to do something, to procrastinate or to watch a movie, and it's like, what, 9 a.m. What do you mean to watch a movie? And if you are a man, and if you want to become a man with purpose, a man that worth something, you have to make your own boundaries. You have to create your own boundaries. And no other man can lead you. Remember that. So don't fall for that trap. Or at least try not to. Fourth, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I have other things, and along the way to here, I've been done so many things. They built me, yes, but they destroyed me as well. Only because, for the same reason. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. And I was thinking deeply of everything. I'm kinda not that much of an overthinker, but deep thinker, something like that, if there is a meaning like that. And I prefer to stay and deep down rather than, accept it. And yes, I accept it, but just out of curiosity, to waste more time, more power, more energy. And it's simple as that. You are just a person, just a human being. And if you want to learn yourself and to teach yourself, you have to be coachable, teachable, to allow to listen, to allow yourself to listen and to not repeat the same mistakes over and over. About the deeply of the world. Yeah, the world is so deep place you cannot even imagine. Oh my god. I had this frame zone in my life in which I was not believing in anything. Completely nothing. I was reading some articles, medical articles, some clever people that wrote them, some science articles, and I was not believing anything else. I decided somehow that they are a clear truth, and there is nothing closer to a truth outside of yourself. Let's say it that way. So I changed a lot, and deeply is my second name, or even my first. 5. Be detached from desire your whole life. Same thing, but so different in the same time. Also, if you want to have purpose in your life forever, to respect yourself, to your whole life and forever, and if you want to end up in a meaningful place, probably this is the way. Or at least you can look around and see all the false, imaginary visions, all the false stereotypes and proofs that we have. And you have to decide for yourself. I want to talk more about it, but this video is actually just about the overview, and in a different video I can talk about every single one of those, and even more. So let's continue. If you have questions, write them in the comments down below. 6. Do not regret what you have done. Okay. This is so crucial. Do not regret what you have done. If you want to have purpose and change, you have to change frequently, right? Because you'll never be the best version. So that means that tomorrow you could be a completely new person with a new character and whatever, that means that you're not the one that done all the mistakes. That was fate. That was a shadow from your past, and you are not your past. You are your present. Of course, people will try to describe you out of your present, your past, I mean, from your past, because they don't know you. Only you know yourself. Only you know who you truly are. So, to regret previous actions is like staying in the trap, staying in the same hole, buried or whatever, and to not free yourself. Never. Absolutely never. So, I'm trying to not regret about anything, and I think I'm close to not perfection, but close to make it right and to doing it good enough. So I can just advise you to do the same. 7. Never be jealous. This is a hard topic for me because in my life, I don't know if I just was raised that way or somehow it came into my head. I don't remember even one time that I've been jealous in my life. Of course, probably I was. It was something internal and probably out of my conscious, actually. It was more deeply from within. I don't know, actually. But in the surface and in my mind and in my way and interacting with life, I never were jealous. I'm living a simple life and I always was. Of course, I want to be wealthy. And I live my life wealthier than so many people. Not with money, but with freedom, with choices, with open mind. And I know that. Probably that's why I cannot be jealous. And of course, I want more physical things like a normal human being. But that doesn't concern being jealous and not consist jealousy in it. 8. Never let yourself be saddened, not completely sure, by a separation. What that means? That means to never be, to never let yourself worrying about being alone, left alone or whatever. My whole life I walked alone. I always have someone next to me, but always keep it in a fair distance. Not because I didn't love those creatures and human beings, but because I deserve to know myself. And I clearly see how many people cannot even get in touch or even start getting in touch with themselves. It's ridiculous. I was praying to members of my family to just stop for a second and not to look around, but to look, just to look, nothing else, and they never done it. So you cannot help anybody if they don't ask you for help, and don't do it. You harm them more than you think. So feel free to feel free. Resentment and complaint are appropriate neither for oneself or others. Neither or whatever. That's number 9. So to complain and resent and just talk and talk and talk. Yeah. This will help no one. Absolutely no one. Will always and only keep you down. Will take everything from you. This is the hard truth. If you're complaining about your situation and not doing anything to fix it, nah, you're stuck. And if you're a man, like I said, and you want to become a purposeful man and useful, oh, if you complain even once, nah, you're already going down. That's the hard truth. Of course, you can be vulnerable. You can feel things. But to complain means to have that anger, or cannot describe it myself, but you know, this is not feeling of, not a worthy feeling, and not a worthy feeling makes you not worthy. 10. Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love. Oh, those are probably the most hard stuff to came to as a man. Because as a man, you need somebody that just to believe in you, you know, just to have, to know that your word means something. And for you to be sure that they know that your word means something, not in a meaningful way. So, yeah, to be that strong takes courage and sometimes takes everything. 11. In all things, have no references. Kind of same thing, but also so different. I have that in me all the time when I'm somewhere and I were not able to describe it properly, kinda. I have that thing, let's say I'm going to a restaurant and I want to eat pizza. They have like 15 pizzas and I ate 3 of them and they were so delicious, because those 3 pizzas are ordinary pizzas that they are doing it everywhere. I never ordered them, absolutely never. Probably the only place in which I eat the same pizzas are the places that those are the only options. So I always order a new pizza, always. and I kind of always getting disappointed and eat, let's say, one piece and leave it like that. And I was kind of confused why I'm not, I have to be consistent, why I'm not just picking the one that I like, and that's good at least. But now I get it, because I don't have preferences. Of course, it will be good enough just to eat the ordinary pizza, but to follow one stigma is like following somebody else and not yourself. And of course, if you are a person that choosing just this one pizza, it's alright. But if you are not, you don't have to. That's what I was thinking. And I think makes more sense, at least for me. Because I started punishing myself. Oh, I'm not consistent, even those small things. But it's completely different thing, and I'm so happy to open my mind for it. I was not about to hurt myself that much, because I don't want to feel guilty, but not a good feeling. And it's better to know, to at least to explain to yourself. 12. Be indifferent to where you live. Oh, this is so crucial. I cannot even imagine how good this one is. This is the foundation, something from which you have to start. You cannot depend on small things like that. For a normal person that have dreams and pursues everything that he wants, a place where he lives is a place to go and rest. In any other time, he have to work. That's the truth. And if you are just in love with your home or whatever, that means you want to spend more time there. And the true meaning is that you have just to feel good for yourself, to feel good enough on this place, and to not have those overwhelming problems like kinda everybody had when we were kinda little or even more grown, living with family members and roommates or whatever. Because your surrounding, especially the surrounding of place where you live, I work in my life in a couple time frames in which I was living somewhere else. I was working just like that, to feel something new, to experience a new thing. And I lived with, of course, random people, completely random people, even kind of bad people, because you cannot out of nowhere become with the best opportunities. You always have to start from somewhere, and those people were the same. They were starting from somewhere. There were a difference. Those people, probably that was the high end from there, and for me it was the beginning, even below the beginning. But I was happy there all the time, and I have so many memories. But what I was trying to say, that you have to feel good and to feel good enough and to be happy in the place in which you live. And if you're not, you have to change it immediately. Don't overestimate or underestimate the indicator that family member is just over your head and telling you something and you're living with him. Now, you have to take your own actions. You have to take your own responsibilities. You have to. That's it. 13. Do not pursue the taste of good food. Yes. Nowadays, every food is not good food. The good food don't have that good taste, but every single food out there have good taste. What do you mean a good taste? A good taste is because there's a sugar inside, nothing else. Sugar and salt mixture makes a good taste. Sugar itself gives a good taste. Everything that is not natural and is with a good flavor, oh my god, there is so much sugar in it. And a bad sugar, fructose, and fructose syrup and whatever, and so many bullshits. I have one thing that I'm saying, probably I was using it in a different podcast. If you don't wash your hands and bath yourself, if you don't shower with a certain liquid, let's say, don't do it with your organs. Your skin is an organ as well. Are you showering with a Coke? While you're showering your organs with a Coke? Inside organs, it's the same thing. You wash your hands with Coke or with Fanta or whatever. It's same thing. Even your inside organs are more vulnerable because that's why they're inside, because they have to be protected from outside world, and you're exposing them daily, torturing yourself and damaging yourself. So the good food is good for the soul, is good for your body. That doesn't come always with a good taste. Mainstream media said that the good food is with this tasty food. No, it never was. But we have to be consumers, you know. So know your own worth. 14. Do not hold on to possessions you no longer need. This is crucial as well. And from time to time, I'm leaving some things behind. Even yesterday, my phone, the protector of my phone, it was some kind of gel, and it was so useful, you know. For the past 2 years, I loved it. Spent a little bit more money. It was not scratchy thing, you know, looking so good, and yeah, but went kinda dirty. And why should I just clean it or whatever? I didn't want my phone, you know, to look dirty. It's dirty as it is. So just remove it. And this thing were keeping my phone from damaging 2 years. Now I'm exposed of breaking my phone. But I leave it behind. Of course, I could go and put a new one, but I left it there, pausing it. Because this is not something that rules me. Like, I don't have social medias as well. From time to time, yeah, I always fall for the trap, and I fall for the trap and look a video to a funny video, a cat video. But I'm not spending more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, or even in a couple of days. Simply because I don't have social medias. It's when I'm on YouTube or something and somehow I end up on a short. I don't know even how, because it is that strong. I'm watching financial video, crypto, and out of nowhere, a cat video, how he jumps out of some places and Joanna. What do you mean? And you're getting stuck. That's why you have to be conscious about it. And to leave the possessions if you don't need them, to leave them aside, to leave them behind. And believe me, you don't need an extra book or whatever. Also, that means not only to not hold into them, but to not take them in the first place as well. Because the possessions, why they are calling possessions? Because they are possessed you. They are possessing you. What means to not hold on to? That means that they are holding on to you. If you had the choice, you are not about to do it. You are not about to do it. If you had the choice, you are about to have perfect life from the beginning. Believe me, naturally, you will. But you didn't have that choice. Now, if you come to your mind, start realizing and start looking around, you gonna have the choice. But yes, it is way more harder. That's why there are certain ways, and we have to be kinda against anybody else, or at least not to be against anybody else, but to be ourselves. And that means everybody else to be against us, because simply that's how the world works. Is meant to make other people your enemies. Is meant to make other people tear you down, pull you apart, and destroy you. You know why? Because everything is just the way it is, and you have to accept it. That was the first thing. 15. Do not act following customary beliefs. Same thing, but so different, you know. We already talked about, but if you're following somebody else, or you're already in a trap. You have your own true insight, your own word, your own way of thinking, of way of experiencing things, way of everything. You're so perfect you cannot even imagine. But you are renting yourself. I was renting myself. I'm doing it till today, till nowadays, every day, because we don't have the choice all the time. Your own thoughts are designed that way. You cannot control 100% of your thoughts. You have probably 80% of your actions, not your thoughts, are not meant clearly and with a clear vision, you know. I'm sure you're not meant to do some things with consciousness, just like you done them today, right now, because before you open this podcast. You know why? Because you're doing them on autopilot. And if you're doing that, that means you learned them from somewhere. And if you're not going to every single one of those, checking them if they're good enough, you are stuck. That's the reality. You want the matrix? That's the matrix. You are your own matrix. Everybody is in his own matrix. And you're gonna say, oh, but everything around is a lie. It is. Because you don't know what is true. You never knew. You never knew what is true. How to not be in a matrix. Do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful. Did you hear that? And I know so many people out there in the world that have skills that are completely unnecessary. And they hurt people. Why? No, just like that. But when, like the saying says, not practice with weapons beyond what is useful, or even collect them. Why rich people have bunkers and like 5 rifles? Because they are preparing for something, right? But if they are not preparing, there will be nothing. So if you want to participate in something like that, prepare for it. And you will. If you ever had a weapon or whatever in your home, think about how you were feeling before having one. Safer? More than or more on a risk? Ask yourself. "17. Do not fear death." Okay. I have so messed up feelings about that. Oh, okay. And yeah, it's probably true. But this thing have so many continuings. I'm gonna ask you just one thing. If you are not fearing death, are you ready to be immortal? And if you're fearing death, are you? And if you're immortal, will you fear death? Ask yourself. 18. Sorry about that. 18. Do not seek to possess either goods or thieves for your old age. Kind of same things with the possessions, but the possessions are to leave them behind through your journey, and the goods or thieves for old age are the one that you're in love with. And this is kind of more deeply because that simply means that you are not ready to give. You cannot give. You cannot make anybody happy before you. That's the true meaning from my point of view. Simply because you have something and you just cannot give it to anybody else. That means that you're not happy with it and you will not be happy without it. 19. Respect Buddha and the gods without counting on their help. That's how the saying is. It's Satoshi. Or not Satoshi. Sorry about it. Miyamoto. Don't know the real name actually. But those are his sayings. And that's why it is Buddha. Don't know about it. Not judging anybody. You have your own beliefs. But here, the key word is gods. You know, if you're Christian or probably if you're not, you have the same saying, I don't know. But in the Bible it said that don't have other gods rather than me. Is that means that there are other gods? And why there are other gods if God is one? And I'm gonna tell you just one thing. Probably I said it in a past podcasts. Do you know a person that becomes a god? Like some pharaoh or whatever? Or did they were a god? They were gods? Or they're just called that way? Exactly. They're just called that way. Do with this information whatever you want. 20. You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor. The guy that wrote all of those is a samurai, a ronin. His honor is before anything else. For a true man, a man with purpose, is the same thing. You don't have to be a samurai. You just have to be worthy to yourself. And yeah, your honor is the most crucial thing. And if you lose it, you're lost. Nothing else matters. You're gonna lose yourself that way. And will feel abandoned, left alone, this time for sure and for real. But what means to preserve your honor at all cost? Here nobody says at all cost. So you have to decide when your honor worth everything and when it's not worth it. When you have to make a step back, and when it will cost you everything. You have to decide for yourself. And 21. Never stray from the way. This have to be before and after. This have to be all the time. I'm gonna put this in my screen, in my lock screen, so I can watch it, because right now there is a walk screen and the saying is pain of discipline or pain of regret. But how to be disciplined if you are straying from the way? Exactly. You have to start from the beginning, and the discipline is not the beginning. The way is the beginning. Just don't lose your way, don't stray from it, and you're gonna have all the discipline you ever wondered for and dreamed. I have so many words more to say about it, and every single one of those, but I was stuck as well, and I had to start from somewhere. I'm so thankful I have this platform and that I can simply talk. Doesn't matter if somebody listens, but I know if there is somebody, you hear me from one way or another. So, thank you for your time, and I hope to never stray from my way. Have a good one. Till the next time.